Dhamma. Listening the Dhamma is indeed a great blessing that you already know and have been listening continuously. We are very honored and fortunate to have with us Venerable Bhikkhu Mahinda Bhanteji. Mahinda Bhante is originally from Gujarat, India, living in America, and then ordained in Kandy, Sri Lanka. And then he has been practicing Vipassana meditation as taught by S.N. Goenka for past 17 years. He considers Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi as his Pariyatti teacher for learning the Pali Tibetan. Venerable Mahinda Bhante also translates books from Pali to English, English to Spanish, and also focuses on directing development of the free app, Learn Buddhism. In addition, Bhikkhu Mahinda also visits Latin America regularly, which includes Peru, Chile, and Argentina, to spread the message of Lord Buddha. So, Bhante also visits South America to teach Dhamma. So, without further delay, on behalf of all of us, we have Bhante's presence here in Mahabodhi, Bangalore. Bhante, we invite you to give us the Dhamma teachings and deliver.
Tiruvan Sarnai, which in Sinhala means may triple gem protect us, Yatna Sarnai, and with the permission of the Venerable Mahasangha. Today I'm going to talk about the very first book I translated from Pali to English, which is Theri-Gatha. Anybody in the back know about Theri-Gatha? One person. Anybody else? Person. Okay, so that's the 4 people. So that's the reason that I focused on translating more of the Khuddaka Nikaya, because these books are not very well known, though they are the gems of Buddhism. And those books are, Therigatha is the first book in the world history, as far as I know, where the words of women arahants are collected. And look at how the Sangha functions. The women Theris, the Arahants, spoke those words, and they were collected by the Bhikkhu Sangha. And Bhikkhu Sangha maintained it for 2,500 years in its purity, in its pristinity. This is how Sangha works. Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis all work together in keeping the teachings alive, keeping the Dhamma alive in its pristine purity. So, like I said, there are 3 sections in the entire Tipitaka which are spoken by women basically. Therigatha is the first one. The second one is Itivuttaka, which was uttered by Lord Buddha but repeated by Kujuttara, women in the palace who couldn't go to visit Lord Buddha. And so that is the second book, again unique in the world history, where a teacher's words are repeated by a slave, a dasi, to all the queens in the palace, and then they are collected. And then there is a Bhikkhuni Samyutta in the Samyutta Nikaya, in the connected discourses of the Buddha. And that is also spoken by Bhikkhunis. And it's actually considered Buddha Vachana because it's right in the Nikayas, in the main Nikayas. So without further ado, what I will do is, we are not going to talk about the translation process and all those kind of things of the Therigatha, but we'll take a very nice story, a deep and involved story from Therigatha, and we will delve right into it. So since not too many people know much about Therigatha, I think I have picked the correct story, which is the story of Isidasi Theri. She has the 48 gathas in Theri-Gatha, the second largest number of gathas besides Sumedha Theri. And Isidasi Theri, everybody can hear me okay, right? I don't need to bring this closer and all that. Okay. So Isidasi Theri spoke 48 gathas, and we will just start from the beginning as it is. It's a nice story, but pay attention to it because it's a story of involvement of karma, rebirth, um, sila, all kinds of things that you can possibly think of. So once upon a time, in a city called Patliputra, today's Patna in Bihar, there were two Theris who were living together, and both were Arahants. So one day, these two Theris go on the Pindapat alms round, and after coming back, after having eaten, washed all their bowels and everything, now they are sitting under a tree, ready to go into seclusion. And one of the Theri, who is named Bodhi Theri, asks the other Theri, Isidasi. He says, Isidasi, you are. So she says, Isidasi, you are still beautiful. You are so comely. You are so young. What made you see suffering in the world that you decided to renounce the world and become a Theri, become a nun, become an Arahant? What was the reason? Why did you give up the worldly pleasures? You could have found good husband and all those kind of things. And so then Isidasi Theri tells Bodhi Theri that please pay attention. I'm going to talk now and tell you my story. And so she starts her story. And what is her story? She says, I was born in Ujjaini to big, uh, a big Sethi. Sethi means one who is a tradesman, a businessman. And my father was very Silvan. He was very rich, and he had a lot of money, and he was in the top families in the Ujjaini. And so when I was born, I was the only child of my father. So in today's uh, language, it would be like the Papa ki Pari. She was like the princess of the father, basically. And she was loved, she was beloved. Um, whatever she wanted, if she wanted water, milk would be given, all kinds of things, basically. So she was born with a silver spoon. And she was also beautiful. When she became of age, usually 16, 17, 18, a lot of people from a lot of places said that we want your daughter as our daughter-in-law. I want my son to marry your daughter. And so all these people were sending the rishta. They were sending all these rishta that get her married to my son. So then finally her father decided that I will get you married to a businessman that I know, who is a friend of mine, in Saket. Saket is today's Ayodhya. So from Ujjaini to Ayodhya. So now she gets married and she goes home. Now she has been taught everything very nicely. So she is very calm, cool, collected, silvan, obedient, everything. She takes care of everybody. Every morning she goes and bows to her father-in-law, mother-in-law. She takes care of her her husband's brothers, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, relatives, everybody. She cooks by herself, even though she is married in a big family where there are many servants who can prepare food for her. But she cooks for everybody. She is doing everything with her own hand because she loves her husband. She wants to please him. She even combs his hair. She puts on kohl on his eyes. These are the makeup of those times. She's doing everything for her husband. And still, one day, 1 month after the marriage, a day came when husband goes to the father mother, his father mother, and says, I don't want to live with Isidasi. I cannot live with her under the same roof. She has not done anything bad to me. She has not fought with me. She has not told me a bad word. She has not punched me. No domestic violence, nothing. But I cannot live with her. And I want to, since it's not her fault, she can stay here. I will leave the house and I'll go away. So now, father, mother of, or father-in-law, mother-in-law of Isidasi, they are at a loss. They don't know what to do. So they said, wait, son, we will talk with Isidasi. Let's see if we can figure out a way. They call Isidasi and tell her, tell us in confidence if something bad has happened between two of you. There is some fight. if there is something going on between you two that we can help you with. And Isidasi says, no, I have not even spoken in loud voice with him. I've done everything he wants. I've cooked for him, cleaned for him, taken care of everything for him. So I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing to solve because there are no problems. Everything is hunky-dory as far as I go. I haven't done anything bad, and he hasn't done anything bad also. So both parties were respectful of each other. But husband said, no, I cannot live with you, end of story. So now, the father-in-law, mother-in-law, they say that we have to protect our son. He is our only son. We cannot kick him out. So they take Isidasi and return her back to her father like rejected goods that you return back to Costco or some IKEA or somewhere else. And they are crying while they are doing it that we have a beautiful daughter-in-law like Lakshmi. She is our Lakshmi, our luck. And there we have to return her back. Okay, and father, so now she is returned back to Ujjaini. She is in Ujjaini. Her father is also now at a loss, don't know what to do. And now she is returned back, so she is second-hand goods. So he finally finds somebody else with whom he gets her married, and this is the person he knows. Again, he knows. So he gets her married to the second person, who is a little older and maybe has one marriage broken or annulled or something like that. So he gets her married there. 15 days later, same exact thing happens. Husband says, I cannot live with this Isidasi. I am returning her back to you. So again, now she is second time back to her father's home. Terrible story. But the terror is not finished yet. But now father doesn't know what to do, how to help her, what can do, what is going on. Nobody knows. Isidasi doesn't know either. So one day, father has a shop in the street, and one ascetic is walking by, somebody who is a tapas, somebody who is like a muni or rishi or somebody like that. So he's Shilvan, he is Gunwan also. He's a sectarian, not Buddhist, but he's still Shilvan Gunwan. So father offers him that if you become my son-in-law, all my wealth will be yours. All my business, my home, my bank deposits, everything will be yours. So that person thinks about it. He says, yeah, that's a good idea. That's not bad. I'm tired of begging all the time now and this, that. So let me become your son-in-law. And so he puts his begging bowl and his clothes as deposit with his father, saying, keep this. And he puts on the regular clothes, lay people clothes. 15 days later, exact same thing happens again. The ascetic comes to father, says, I cannot live with her. I have to get out of this and give me back my ball, give me back my robes, and I want to go back, start begging. I don't want to live with Isidasi. Now, at this point, Isidasi is basically broken. Parents are also broken. Three marriages in like maybe less than a year. Commentary doesn't say us how long it is, but maybe less than a year. 3 marriages, 3 returns, and nothing, no happiness in life for any of the parties, right? So at that point, father is broken, Isidasi is broken, and Isidasi doesn't know what to do. So she is thinking maybe I should commit suicide, or maybe I should become a nun and renounce the world because there is nothing in the world for me. So then one day, a Buddhist nun called Jinadatta, she is coming, walking on the street on the arms round. Isidasi sees the Buddhist nun, Bhikkhuni. She invites her inside, provides her with food, treats her respectfully, and takes care of whatever she wants. Then she sits down at her feet and says, please ordain me because there is no happiness for me in this life. I'm not finding any happiness anywhere, and I have some bad karma from the past. I need to end those karma by becoming an ascetic and doing the best I can and following on the path of renunciation. Again, then her father jumps in, says, I don't want you, my princess, to go out, shave your head, and beg on the streets when your father has millions and millions of dollars and rupees for you. So she tells him that in this life there is nothing for me. So I would rather that I go out and I make an end of the suffering if I can in this life itself. So finally, father agrees and she becomes a nun. She sits down for 7 days continuously. She meditates cross legged. And at the end of the 7 days, she becomes an arahant. She attains the three true knowledges. What are the three true knowledges? Lord Buddha also attained the same knowledges and far more, of course. The first knowledge you attain is the Pubbe Nivasanusati. Basically, you remember your past lives. You see how you have fared on in the samsara, life after life, and what has been your experience, what has been your pleasure, what has been your pain, what has been your suffering, all these things you review in your. The second true knowledge that arises is the Dibbachiku or Chututpat Jnana, where you know how beings arise according to their karma and they fare on according to their karma. Good people doing good karma go to good destinations. People doing bad karma go to bad destination. And you see this everything. And the final one is Asavakaya Jnana, where you know that your taints are ended. This is your last life. And after this, there is no further becoming for you. This is like a palm tree with the top cut off, basically. There's no further growth. This life ends, everything ends with it. All the suffering ends with it. So now the real story starts of the karma. Until now, it was the suffering story of this life. Now she tells Bodhi that I know my past 7 lives. And I'm going to tell you those 7 lives so you can see where I've come from. And she starts telling that the 8th life from now, handsome goldsmith, male goldsmith, in a nice town with tons and tons of money. He was like a playboy with Ferrari and going to casinos and doing all kinds of things, basically. So what his interest was to basically make scores. He went after women and he was conquering women, basically. That was his sport. And in doing so, he went after both married women and unmarried women. And he broke so many households because when you, in those times and even in now times, if there is infidelity in the marriage breaks. Both parties suffer, their parents suffer, and their children also suffer. So it's not only one person suffering, the entire 2 families and all the dependents, everybody suffers. This goldsmith created endless suffering for so many families. And he wouldn't care. He said, so what? I'll go after the next one. So what? I'll go after the third one. He kept on doing that. He was like dancing on top of a volcano that was ready to erupt. He didn't know that he was dancing on top of the volcano, but that's what he was doing because he didn't understand his karma. When he finished that life, right after that, he's reborn in hell. He's reborn in hell, and there he suffers endless suffering. There's a peculiar suffering for the adulterers, for people who break Shila in the sense of Kameshu Michachara. And so, in that suffering, in the hell, there are trees with leaves that are like swords. He sees a beautiful woman in far away and he runs after her. And while running after her, every leaf of the tree cuts him like a sword, like a knife. And he's bleeding, 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 but he cannot stop running. He keeps on running one after another, but can never catch the women. So he spends thousands of years like that, running and being cut again and again and suffering again and again. So that was his first life after becoming goldsmith. So goldsmith, hell. When his hell suffering finishes, then now he's reborn as a male monkey. Because he could not control his lust as a human, he is born closest to human at that point. Monkey is closest to human. He's born as a male monkey. But when he's 7 days old, the main monkey of the troop does not want any rivalry. He doesn't want any competitors. So he castrates him by cutting off his male organs. So now he's a castrated monkey because he doesn't pose any threat now to the male monkey, the main monkey of the troop. So his life is again no satisfaction. His life is full of suffering as a monkey. When he finishes his life as a monkey, that is his third life, then the fourth life he is born as a goat. A goat with not seeing much, having worms in his stomach. And again, goat is castrated when he is 12 months old, and he is made to carry young children. You know, goat cart where the small children sit and go to school. Like that, he is made to ferry children to kindergarten and all those kind of things. Again, no satisfaction because he's castrated. He's not a male, he's nothing. When he dies from there, he's born as a male calf, as a calf who is again castrated when 12 months old. And he's made to do heavy duty work. As a goldsmith, he never did any heavy work. He had a lot of money. He always just drove around in his Ferrari. He didn't care about doing any work. Here, now he's made to do work. He has to take plow, he has to carry the cart, he's blind in the eyes, he can't see much, and his life is full of misery, full of no satisfaction at all. Okay, these are all male versions that he got so far, right? Hell, monkey, goat, and ox. All castrated, but all still male. Then the next life he gets, he is born on the slave street of the Dasis. The Dasi street, but he's born as an hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means he's neither man, neither a woman. He's in between. So he's now making transition slowly from male to female. So hermaphrodite, no satisfaction in life, no values, like a hijra basically. So not exactly that, but something similar to that. So that life again, no satisfaction for him. Then after that life, he is again born on the slave street to a carter, one who carries goods. And again, it's a very poor household. His father doesn't have much money. So all the people are gathering around trying to get the loans. They have given his father loans and they want to get the money out. At some point, father gets so tired of these loan collectors, he offers one of them his daughter, that you take her as a dasi and you can keep her and you can forgive my loan. So that rich horse trader takes the little girl and goes away. Now the horse trader has a son. That son is already married. But when she becomes 16-year-old, the slave girl, he takes her as a second wife. Now she is a woman. But in that life, he tries to break the concord between the first wife and the husband. First wife loves husband. She is Shilvati, she is Gunvati. But Isidasi in that life puts things in her husband's ear saying, she is bad. She was trying to do this. She was trying to do that. So she breaks the concord between these two, husband and wife. As a result of that, in the final life, when she is born as an Isidasi, her karma as a goldsmith are all worked out by this time. But now she created new karma of breaking apart a husband and a wife. So in this life, when she is born as a Isidasi, the final life, now she, for reasons due to karma, but no obvious reason, 3 times she is kicked out by her husband. And 3 times she suffers humiliation, return good, second hand, third hand kind of labels on you. And finally, she tells Bodhi that I served every one of them like slaves, like a dasi, took care of them, and they still rejected me. And she finally sings her paean of joy, saying, I have made an end of that also. All of that is over for me. There is no further suffering. There is no further humiliation. There is no further round of rebirth for me. I'm done with all of that. And this is the joy that Therigatha gives you. These are the kind of things that you can even use as your own recollection when you are meditating, understanding suffering of others, understanding where suffering arises from, what is the, sometimes many things happen, but we don't know where it's coming from. But that doesn't mean there is no underlying reason for it. Underlying reason for it might be in the far past, which we can't see right now because we don't have the right vision. We don't have the Pupenivasanusati or any other knowledges like that. But it's these kind of stories are worth reflecting upon so that you can understand that where is all this arising from, and how can I keep on doing the good karmas, how can I keep on doing good things in life so I don't have to create suffering for myself as well as others, because you never create suffering for yourself only. You are connected with all other people, so you create suffering for many people when you do bad karma. And similarly, when you do good karma, you create happiness for so many, including yourself. So this is the key thing from here. So that's where I'll stop the story, and now you guys can ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. All questions are good questions. There are no bad questions ever. There might be bad answers, but there are no bad questions. Feel free. Somebody has to be the first one to break the ice. Therigatha has many such stories. Maybe you.
What do we do to avoid these kind of mistakes?
The repeated mistakes, basically,
Yeah.
the tendency to repeat same thing again and again, like घरेर में हो गया कि it keeps on going. The best thing to do with these kind of things is every time Lord Buddha has given Lord Buddha has given very good advice to Venerable Rahula about how to reflect on things. So the two things you can do is reflect upon your past mistakes and make strong determination to be mindful about not doing those kind of mistakes, and also reflect on those same mistakes while you are meditating. Because when you are meditating, you are not paying attention to the outside world. You're only paying attention to the inside world. So this is part of the training. It's not, there's no magic bullet for that. You will have to train yourself again and again and again. The monkey mind will want to do something else. Monkey mind wants to jump on the trees. It wants to eat all the fruits out there, just taste and throw them, not even use them fully. So that's monkey mind. But you have to train the monkey. You have to pass the monkey to a chain and stake, and put it in the ground. And that is your mindfulness. When you do meditation, you are tying the monkey so that the monkey does not become a free animal again and again and again and control you. It's like in English, there is another saying, the dog usually wags the tail. Here, the tail is wagging the dog. So don't let mind control you. You control the mind. If you learn how to do that slowly over time, and this is a very good place here, come and meditate, learn mindfulness, all these kind of things. And this is what will teach you how to stop repeating the same mental behavior again and again and again. So that's a short answer. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Emotions. So that time, like,
It's okay. You can.
and react to this
The
and without making bad.
answer is exactly the same. Meditation will teach you how to observe your internals, basically internal emotions, internal thoughts that are going on in your mind, internally what you are thinking, and you want to right away respond to somebody, give back to them right away. Like you are at work and somebody tells you, your work is so bad, and you want to give in the double measure right away. Your work is even more terrible than mine. It's easy to do that. But once you start meditating, generating mindfulness, generating awareness, that will start creating a gap between reactions that you give to the actions of others or the actions you do. And it will start creating a gap, and that gap will allow you to think whether is it worth giving that response? Is it worth it? Why should I pollute my mind by responding back to that person? I don't want to pollute. That mind has created hatred or whatever for me. But I don't need to do that. That mind will suffer for its things. Why should I suffer by giving back in equal measure? Because some point I will think about it and say I should not have done that 10 years later. But by that time, you can't come back, time travel 10 years and change it, right? So again, meditation is very important. When you read all these things, when you hear all these things, when you listen to all these things, all that pariyati has to be put in practice with patipati. So you have to do, these are like the two wheels of the scooter. Scooter cannot have one wheel, but they cannot be different size also. So you should use both of them together. So when I tell people that you read something, you should also devote equal time to meditating on what you read and take the sar of that reading, essence of that reading, and what it's called atmasat, put it inside you, so um, you can practice it. Practice will be slow. Remember, practice the first time you meditate and you are mindful, your response time might be 1 second more, but you might still give back in equal measure. Next time, after 2-3 seconds, you might give back. Next time, 5-10 seconds, and you say, no, it's not worth it. I don't want to give back. Okay, I will walk away. I don't want to continue this story. Because who knows, in future life, we will again fight. There are so many stories in Dhammapada and other places of a Yakini and the woman who run after each other's children, countless lives. Because one time they did something bad, and now this is like a spiral, like a cyclone that is going on, and it's like growing and growing and growing in speed, intensity, terror it creates for both parties. All these things, the key thing is again to control your mind. If you control your mind, there is no better friend than your mind. And if you don't control your mind, there is no worse enemy than your mind. You are your worst enemy with a bad mind, and you are your best friend with a good mind. These are the first two verses of the Dhammapada also. So, answer most of the time will remain the same. Yes, ma'am? I can't hear you. I think you will need to.
Vandami Kunteji, when Bhikkhuni Sangha was formed, was there a discrimination between a bhikkhu and a bhikkhuni?
This is a very good question. There is a lot of talks about it. There are a lot of articles about it. There are a lot of things why bhikkhuni should be on dependence in the bhikkhu sangha. I think it was the local social conditions at that time, which was not discrimination, but Lord Buddha could not let alone a bhikkhuni sangha. There were cases of rapes and things like that also. So there were some things where bhikkhuni sangha needed to be dependent on the bhikkhu sangha. In today's time, there would be no discrimination. Like I said, this book is protected, recited, and maintained by the male counterpart, the bhikkhu sangha, for 2,500 years. If they were discriminating, they would not maintain anything related to the women. So there is really no discrimination, though from modern eyes, people might think it was discrimination. But I would not say that there was any discrimination between male and female. In fact, in Bhikkhuni Samyutta, I think the Bhikkhuni Soma, or the first one, um, Mara, the perpetual enemy in Buddhism, Mar comes to Soma and says, "You woman with two-fingered wisdom, this much wisdom, not much, this wisdom, you cannot attain arahantship." And what does Soma tell Mara? Soma tells Mara that one who has gone beyond and become an arahant, the malehood and the femalehood and all that doesn't matter at all. They are all same. All are equally capable of attaining arahantship, attaining Nibbana. But for women, it would have been harder. Why? Because they would usually have children. They would usually be protecting their parents, taking care of them. So they would usually not be so free like the males, like the bhikkhus, to be able to take ordination and go out. So again, I would say that there is really no discrimination. Now, in the modern time, from our modern glasses, we can think it's a discrimination, but it's reflective of the local social conditions 2,500 years ago. Remember, this is also the first nuns order in the world history, basically, officially established, having all equal counterparts. Lord Buddha has a fourfold Sangha. Half of the fourfold Sangha is women, lay women and bhikkhunis. So there is an equal representation. And Lord Buddha says time and again, when I have fourfold Sangha well established, then only I will attain Nibbana. To Mara, he replied the same way. So there is no discrimination.
Thank you, Bhantiji. Again, one question is that means the bhikkhu and a bhikkhuni, they are both treated equally.
Again, the question is, for example, I gave you the answer a little while ago, that there were cases, for example, Theri Uppalavarna, she was living in a forest by herself, and she was actually had a sexual misconduct by her cousin who came, and that's when Lord Buddha prohibited that since women are more vulnerable to this kind of violence, they should not live alone in forest ever. So, for example, you will not find forest monasteries with nuns. But there is a reason to protect women, not to discriminate against women. So this is the reason. So you will find treatments are different. Just like today's in the army, in many armies, they will not let women soldiers go to the front line. They can be in the support roles, but not go in the front line, because if Taliban captures you, then your fate is far worse than for a male soldier. So there are reasons why some of these things are done, and that's keeping the social sensibilities in mind.
Thank you, Bhantiji.
You're welcome. Yes. Out. Others. Yeah.
Vandami Banteji. I apologize. This question is not connected with Theri Gata. Can I question?
That's okay.
In the Girimananda Sutta, under the 10 perception, the same verses are there for Nirodha and Viraga Sanya. Etam santam etam panitam sabba sankhara samato sabupadi nisago tanha kayo viraga and the Nirodha. I just wanted a little explanation, elaboration on this to.
I think that's something I would leave up to the Mahasangha to answer more details later on.
Okay,
Maybe
Bhanteji.
something. Maybe later on, but I think that the same. Sometimes things have the same name but are different in meaning. There is a sutta where it said this one, that they have same name but different in meaning. Sometimes they are different in name and also different in meaning.
Yes, Bhanteji.
So, but we'll talk. We can talk about it later. I would rather that we finish other
Yes,
easier
Bhanteji.
questions at
Yes,
this point,
Bhanteji.
rather than more theoretical questions.
Swami Bante, generation Goldsmith from
Yes, the
Goldsmith
first
to
generation, zero generation.
Theri, in which comma brings her become Theri? I
Which karma? Okay, so she told us only 7 lives, remember? So total 8 lives, including as Isidasi. So what would have happened is, before Goldsmith, he would have done good karma to collect enough merits so that when she sat down Isidasi for 7 days in rapt attention, she could attain Nibbana. But also remember, in these 7 lives, she suffered. She suffered so much, and then in the last life, she suffered 3 times rejected. So she was like gold in a crucible. She was boiling, 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 but the gold was purifying, purifying, purifying. And gold was at the right temperature. So when she sat down 7 days, it was only a matter of casting the gold into ring or necklace or whatever. So suffering also brings some good results, because if there is enough suffering, that means you are ready to melt. And that doesn't mean you welcome suffering. You say, come suffering, come, I'll go and stand in front of the bus and bus hits me and I will suffer and I'll become an arahant. It doesn't happen like that. Suffering has to be natural. Suffering has to be where you can understand why suffering is happening, or you cannot understand why it's happening, and you get the jignasa that I want to finish this. And so you sit down. So this is, Lord Buddha gives some examples of enlightenment is not sudden, and it's also not gradual, but it's both. It's like the continental shelf of the ocean, slowly, 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 slowly inclines, and then it drops suddenly in a big canyon, 5 miles deep or 4 miles deep. So when you combine these two concepts in this long sansara, we collect paramis or we collect bad karmas, and then suddenly we and reach the end, basically, where you make an end of everything. So it's not really easy for us to understand, and it's not really one answer. And Isidasi Theri has not told us why. So we can only, at this point, we can only guess. And so I'm guessing that she had paramis of the past, which all of us have to some extent, more or less. And so those paramis also come into play when the suffering is sufficient, the heat is high, the gold is molten, and it's ready to be cast.
We would have done some bad karmas in the past life. How do we pay for that in the current life? For example, a person is killed or road accidents in the past life and he ran away. Now, how does he pay for the past karma in his current life? Does he get attracted to a place where now it's ready that person will be punished?
So your question is on karma and how the repayment happens, or how the karma works, right? What are the fruits are going to come? Karma is a very, very complicated subject. Let me start with a disclaimer. Lord Buddha himself has said that there are 4 imponderables. You cannot ponder those because they're not deep. I mean, they're so deep you cannot ponder. You will go crazy. And one of them is karma. So we can only speculate. Again, what I would say is karma can be experienced in this life or next life or some other life. Also, some karma are functional, some karma are not functional. They never give you fruits and they pass away. Also, some karma, if you have done them, but in subsequent lives, if you have done meditation, if you have done development of your paramis, if you have done other things, then some of those karmas become non-functional and they will not give you fruits. So there is no one-to-one setup here. There is no accounting that somebody is keeping. There is no Chitragupta Chopra here anywhere. This is karma's working, and karma can be made lighter. There is a very nice sutta on that, conch blower shell. Sankadhamma Sutta. Sankadhamma Sutta. It's a very nice sutta on that one. It's in connected discourses, right, Banta? It's in the connected discourses. There, Lord Buddha also tells you how you can lighten the karma. And the karma can be lightened if you realize your mistake, you accept it, you ask forgiveness for it, and then develop the Brahma Viharas, the 4 Brahma Viharas of Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekha. And those karmas become lighter, lighter, lighter. Something for which you might have had to hang by the neck. You might get an injection from the doctor and get a momentary pain. That doesn't mean exactly like that would happen, but something similar. So your karma can be lightened, but by you only, not by somebody else. And you, when you sit down here and you even do 5 minutes of metta, you are lightening a lot of your karma. So this is your incentive right there to do metta every day, to do upekha, karuna, mudita, whatever you can do every day. Do it every day. Make it a habit. Before you go to sleep, 5 minutes, you should just spread metta everywhere. It doesn't take too much time. But make it a habit in life that you do this all the time. Not just like on Sundays when I come to temple, I do this. Other days, I have a free pass. I don't have to do anything. No, you should do it all the time. More you develop, the more fortified you will be, more stronger you will be. You can withstand the ups and downs of life then.
Hi. You said you suffer sometimes because of the bad karma or past life. What if someone has a strong belief of there is no next life or past life, there is only one life? How can you handle that person's karmas then?
That's a question of sammaditthi. There is a problem there with that ditthi of this being the only life. This is YOLO. You only live once. This is what happens in American high schools. And everybody goes after enjoying this life to the maximum extent, disregarding all the morality and all of the things. And so this is a question of sammaditthi, not having the sammaditthi. You need to start by developing sammaditthi, having the right view, the mundane right view of the 10 kinds, and from there only you can begin. So I would suggest pariyatti, try to understand more of the teachings. Most of the time where I teach, this is the kind of trouble that we already are in. They don't believe in karma. They don't believe in other lives. They are all Christians most of the time. So they think we'll die, we will go to grave, and then on the judgment day, we will be put into this or that. But that's not how things work ultimately. Everything is recycled. Remember, the whole world is recycled. It's a closed system, not an open system. So you need to start developing the right view. And that's where I think pariyatti can help a lot. Coming here can also help a lot. Talking with knowledgeable monks, asking them what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done, what is in my interest, what is not in my interest, all these things, and they are always available to you, all of them. Ask them these questions. And they will answer. This is our job to answer the questions as much as we can.
Hi, Vandami Bhandiji.
Where are you?
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
So, pretty basic question. So, desire is the suffering of basic of the suffering, everything. So, for a layperson, the layperson doesn't have a desire. Then, what is the anchor for life? Like, let's say, for the monk, they have disengaged from everyone. So they may not have a desire. But for a layperson, it's very different. They are driven by the desires. They are like, so it's a pretty basic question.
Yeah. So very basic question, very basic answers. Even monks have desires. We have desires of attaining Nibbana. So we are not free of desire, but not all desires are bad. This desire is good. The craving to attain Nibbana is one of the 4 ways beings can overcome themselves, overcome and attain Nibbana. So, but for lay people, as long as your desires are within the Panchashila, as long as your desires are not creating suffering for others, as long as you are growing in Dhamma, helping everybody around you, not creating suffering for others, then those desires are not bad. And with those desires, you should start making wholesome desires of helping others actively by doing inkamma, by doing good deeds for others, by feeding hungry people, or by helping blind cross the road, whatever way. Start small and then grow from that small to little bigger, little bigger. It's all baby steps. Take one step at a time. You can't just climb Mount Everest. You have to practice, practice, practice. And in some life, you will climb Mount Everest. So desires are not bad. Unwholesome desires are bad. And desires should be wholesome and within the Panchil framework for the lay people. That is the important thing to remember. So, because if you don't have desires, you cannot maintain wife, children, parents, house, job, education, anything. So it's normal. But I have the good desires also that I will help the world. By my being here, is the world a better place? This is the question everyone must ask themselves, including monks. We should make the world a better place when we live. This is the way. Not by our living, but by doing the things while we are here.
Secondary question is basically like whenever we have these kind of desires, we try to go for optimizations. Like we want to optimizations. We want to ensure that like we get the best out of whatever rankings we have for the desire. And then what eventually happens is like some of the things which are equally important go down in the priority. So how do you ensure that like you're not just getting like too much excited by the desire so that like you're not like getting straight from the path?
Again, the meditation will be answered. Mindfulness will be answered to pay attention to your desires and prioritize them. Optimize them by not following too many, not having too many irons in the fire so that some iron melt away and you can't do anything with them. You need to have something that you can manage. So these are lay kind of things where you need to take steps to only eat, only take a bite of how big your mouth is, not bigger than that. So these are like common sense things, but with mindfulness, you can understand this kind of thing. So slowly, again, all of this is a matter of practice. There are no injections here. You didn't say anywhere injection station, right? They give you injection and you become mindful and you are walking mindfully on the street. No, doesn't happen. You will have to practice a lot.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think on this side there was a question, no? Female side, there was a question here. There's a question there. Time. Last question. Thank you.
Vandami Bante, how to overcome the fear of disease and death?
Disease and death. That's a very deep topic of the fears. Fear is actually one of the 9 things that only arahants overcome completely. We all have some fears. So fear is a very basic instinct that drives the human life, basically. So for fear, I think I have some teachings, but I can share after lunch maybe at that point because we are now running out of time. But fear of death and disease, when you have the right view that this is not the only life, there has been a succession of life and there will be a succession of life, and you understand that death is basically moving from one room to another. Even though you have never been in that room and you don't know which room you were in before you came to this room, death is basically moving from one room to another. As long as you understand that part, and as long as you understand that some disease is part of your previous karma and some disease is from current. So when you understand the theory of karma, your fear of death and disease will subside. It will not be overpowering. It will be there. Remember, only arahants overcome fear completely. Nobody else does. So those are the one of the 9 things that arahants cannot transgress. So that's what I would say. But I will see if I can share more information. But before we finish, Bhante, I want to do a public service announcement. Like I said, I do the Learn Buddhism app development. So I will put my cards here, and it has a QR code on the back. And you can download that app, and you can find all the teachings, many teachings from many different teachers, about 40,000 different teachings. Everything is free. It's in PDF or YouTube or whatever formats. Download this app and you can search for death and disease or all kinds of topics, and you can see what different people are telling you about that. So that will be a good way for you to start learning in your free time. You are commuting in the bus to your work or wherever, or you are sitting in an Uber. You can do your app for 5 minutes and read something or listen to a YouTube or whatever. So this will be a good way to utilize your time all the time and not waste any time, basically. So I'll just leave those cards here and you can just pick them up. I think we should.
Thank you, Inda, for taking all the questions. I'm sure you'll get an idea about various aspects, mind, mental development, and as we all keep saying, there is no instant solution to your problems. There are causes and conditions behind those problems, how it all started and how it continued in different lives, and how it is going now. And there are solutions, how it we have to manage now and in the future with mindfulness and wisdom till you become fully enlightened. So you have to all keep practicing like this